G'day and welcome to the Inside Rugby preview show. In this video I'm going to be previewing the Six Nations game between Ireland and Scotland that's going to be played at the Aviva Stadium in Dublin on Saturday.
Helmy Thomas, Edwards to Barry John, Hall, John Dawes, again Williams in the line, he's over the 25, into John Taylor, what a magnificent move!
G'day everyone and welcome back to the channel. If you're a regular viewer, great to have you here. Thanks very much for your attendance, and don't forget, put your comments below this video on what you think is going to happen in this game as well. If you're a first timer here and you've just come across my channel, great to have you here. Why don't you come and join our global rugby community here on Inside Rugby? And the best way to do that is hit the subscribe button. And if you do like this video at the end, give it a bit of a thumbs up. It helps me along my YouTube journey as well. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to be talking about the team selection for this game, as well as my prediction. Yes, who's going to win this final game in the 2024 Six Nations competition. So let's start off with the visitors, and Scotland of course are coming to the Aviva Stadium after their loss to Italy, and that one would have hurt a lot for Gregor Townsend and his team, I'm sure. So they'll be looking for a bit of a redemption. So what team has Gregor Townsend named to run out against Ireland at the Aviva Stadium? Okay, let's start off by looking at Scotland, and in particular in their forwards. Their front row for this game against Ireland, the starting front row is going to be Schumann, Turner and Zander Fagerson. Yes, the trio that we're used to seeing in the front row for Scotland. It's going to be a really interesting battle, this one, and I'll talk a little bit more in the prediction on who I think is going to get the upper hand in this one. Then moving on to the locks for Scotland, and the starting locks for this game is going to be Cummings and Gilchrist. They've been playing well so far, I think, throughout this competition, getting plenty of good secure ball for Scotland. They're going to have to be on their game though this weekend to make sure they continue that process against this great Irish pack, and there's going to be lots of opportunities for them, I think, to vary up the line out call. Let's see if that actually happens in this game. Then looking at the back three for Scotland in the forwards, and we've got Christie, Darge and Dempsey. On paper, an outstanding back three for Scotland, but they've got to deliver on the pitch, and sometimes what happens is we love the look of these players when it comes to the naming of the team, but they just don't produce the goods on the day. I think Dempsey's been playing very well of late, as has Rory Darge, but we want to see them really try and capitalise on this opportunity against Ireland tomorrow in Dublin. Going to be a very interesting one to see. So that's the starting eight. They're going to start against Ireland tomorrow. Now, because Gregor Townsend's gone for a 5-3 split in this bench decision this weekend, we got 5 in the forwards, of course. So they are Ashman, Sutherland, Miller-Mills, Skinner and Fagerson. So a good bench there for Scotland. They're going to have to be on their game, as I say, when they come on. It's going to be interesting to see how they go up against what Ireland has decided to do, and I'll talk about that in a second when we get to the Irish team. But that's going to be the Scottish forwards for this game against Ireland. Let me know what you think in the comments. Anyone missing out that you think should be based on current form, or is that the best forward pack that Scotland can put out for this game? Love to hear your views on that one. Now let's move on to the backs and see what Scotland has decided to do there. Okay, looking at the Scottish backline for the starting of this game against Ireland tomorrow in Dublin, and at halfback we have White, and then we have Finn Russell, of course, outside him. So outside Finn Russell in this game, we have a change at Stafford McDowell coming in. I've never seen the guy play before, so this is a new one for me. So all the Scottish fans can let me know what you think of this guy. Is it a good selection? I like Cameron Redpath. He's on the bench in this game, but I think he should have been given another go to start the game. But I'm interested to know how this Stafford McDowell's going to go. Let me know in the comments what you think of him. Then outside him, of course, we have Hugh Jones, been playing really well, I think, in the Six Nations, missing his old buddy Tupelotu, but he's out, of course, for the remainder of this tournament. Then outside these guys, we have on the wings Steyn and Van der Verve. Van der Verve needs to get into this game. It's going to be crucial that he scores at least one try in this game if Scotland are going to have any chance at all. So let's see how he goes on the weekend. Then at fullback we have Blair Kinghorn, and Kinghorn's come back recently from injury, playing pretty well. But again, like all the rest of the Scottish players I'm calling on this weekend, they're going to have big games if they're going to go close to this Irish team. So that's the starting 7 in the backs for Scotland tomorrow. And now looking at their reserve bench for the backs, and we have Horn, Redpath and Rowe. So a good trio there to come on in the game. I've been pretty impressed with Rowe actually. I thought he's played well in the opportunities that he's been given, and I don't think Scotland will lose anything by bringing him on whenever he comes on in this game. So there's the Scottish team, a good line out I think. I don't think there's too many people that they could place in this team that's going to make it go any better, but I'd like to hear your thoughts on that one. So why don't you leave me your comments. Now let's jump over and have a look at the home team's selection for this game. And Andy Farrell's not messing around. He wants to win this game, of course, and win the championship this year. So he's put out what I think is probably one of the strongest Irish teams that we could have. Let's start off in the forwards and have a look at what their pack is going to look like for this weekend's game. Starting off in the front row, and we've got Porter, Sheehan and Furlong as expected, and I think they're going to do the job over the Scottish front row, but it's going to be very interesting to see how that goes for the majority of the game, and also when the reserves come on, what dynamic change is that going to have on this particular pack. Then we're looking at the locks for Ireland, and we've got McCarthy and Byrne. They've been doing fabulously well, I think, so far in the Six Nations. I saw a lot of comments after that England game saying that the Irish line-out wasn't very good. I think that wasn't consistent with what's been happening so far in the Six Nations competition. I think they've been very good. I think some of the Irish supporters are a little bit hard on the team after that loss to England. Don't forget they were well in that game and they were winning it up until the last few seconds. So it could have been just as easily an Irish win. And I think with England getting so much ball and playing the way that they did in that game, for Ireland still to be in contention to win that game in the last second, I think it was again another merit to the Irish team. So hang in there, boys and girls. I think you've got more than a great opportunity this weekend. So there we go, Joe McCarthy and Byrne in there in the locking position this weekend as expected. And then moving into the back row for Ireland in the forwards, and we're going to see O'Mahony, Van der Fleer and Doris. Not too sure there's a better trio going around in World Rugby at the moment in terms of the back three. Van der Fleer had an absolutely storming game last time out. Doris, I've never seen Doris have a bad game. Peter O'Mahony needs to calm down his discipline a little bit. Of course, Ireland need all 15 men on the field this weekend, and I'm sure that he needs to lead by example as well. So let's hope Peter O'Mahony has a good game for Ireland this weekend. Andy Farrell's gone for a 5-3 split as well when it comes to the substitutes. So let's have a look at the forward substitutes for Ireland. No real surprises here. We've got Kelleher, Healy, Beelum, Beard and Conan. And boy, what a group of five to be able to bring on. I'm sure they're going to do some severe damage in the second half, and I think that might be one of the pivotal points of this game, but I'll talk more about that in my prediction shortly in this video. Okay, moving on to the back line that Ireland are going to start this game with, and no surprises here at all. At halfback we've got Gibson, Park, and number 10 we've got Jack Crowley. Then we've got the big Bundy Archie inside centre. Outside him is Henshaw. And then on the wings we've got Nash and Lowe, and at fullback Hugo Keenan. So as expected, the probably the top Irish backline, except for Gary Ringrose. He's going to be starting on the bench this week, so it's going to be great to see him back on the field at some stage. So as I said, Ireland have got 3 on the bench this weekend: Conor Murray, Harry Byrne and Gary Ringrose, and I think that's a pretty good trio to bring on. Murray needs to be careful with his strategic kicking this weekend, and I'm sure the message has been given to him loud and clear, not only from Andy Farrell but from all the Irish supporters as well. So an extremely strong team for Ireland, both starting the game and the reserve bench, and they're playing at home in front of their beloved fans at the Aviva Stadium. I think this Irish team's going to go pretty well. So why don't we head over to my prediction now and find out what I think is going to happen in this game. Okay, so what do I think is going to happen in this game? Well, I think first of all, the first 10 minutes is going to be crucial. I think Ireland's going to come out with all guns a-blazing at the Aviva Stadium tomorrow. I think they're going to try and get as many points on the board, get the crowd into the game, put a lot of pressure on Scotland, and try and shoot out to like 10 or 13 points to nil after a few minutes. And I think that's going to really rattle Scotland if they're able to do that. But what I see as the biggest differences in this game is the ability to get possession. And I think Ireland, with their group of forwards, basically at the breakdown, Van der Fleer is playing absolutely fantastic at the moment. So is Doris. And I just think that Ireland is going to have the weapons they need to be able to execute fast breakdown ball. And we all know what they're like once they're able to do that. They get a roll on and they're able to bring their backs in the game. So watch out for that early on. Watch out for Ireland's dominance around the breakdown. I think that's going to be really, really crucial. Next up, I think Ireland's going to have the advantage in the scrums. And although we're probably not going to see a lot of scrums, I think those scrums that we do see, we're going to see Ireland dominate, and we're going to see them get clear, clean ball from those scrums, which again is going to be important as far as getting their backline away. Talking about getting their backline away, points around the kicking in general play is going to be important as well. And I think Finn Russell does this a little bit better than Jack Crowley. So depending on what game Finn Russell is allowed to play this weekend, and I think that's going to be crucial as well. A lot of the other teams in the competition so far haven't been able to keep Finn Russell quiet. I think the Irish defence is going to be able to do that. So I think Finn Russell's going to struggle to have the amount of time that he's had in the previous games to be able to master the game like he has in some of the other games. So watch out for the Irish rush defence getting up on Russell very quickly and trying to cut out the options that he has. But when he does have options in general play, when it comes to his kicking, I think he's better than Jack Crowley at the moment. And I think Russell can cause some damage, at least putting Scotland on the front foot and getting them down into Irish territory, creating some attacking line-out opportunities, and maybe a couple of 50-22s as well that put pressure on Ireland. So that's going to be a play we're going to have to watch for from Scotland. In terms of goal kicking though, I think it's pretty even, although I'd give Finn Russell the nod slightly over Jack Crowley when it comes to percentages and consistency. I think Russell's been kicking extraordinarily well for goal during the Six Nations competition and expect that to continue this weekend. But I think Scotland's going to come out all guns blazing and try and score tries against this Irish team. It's going to be interesting to see whether they can get through that defensive line of Ireland. England were successful in doing that on occasions last weekend. Are Scotland going to deploy the same tactics this weekend? That's something we're going to have to watch out for. The next thing we need to watch out for in this game, I think, is the benches when they come on. I think Ireland's forwards are going to dominate over the Scottish ones, so expect Ireland to be able to get more ball during that time, which is obviously crucial for their time with ball in hand and being able to move forward. So whether they are even chasing the game at that stage or whether they're trying to put the game out of reach, I think it's going to be a critical period of the game when that Irish pack comes on, when the Irish reserve forwards come on to this game. The next thing we're going to look for in this game is a couple of standout players. James Lowe has been playing exceptionally well so far in the Six Nations competition. He not only brings his attacking flair, but he's got that left foot kick that gets a lot of territory gain for Ireland at different times during the game. Look out for that this weekend. I think that's going to be a crucial factor. Also, when James Lowe gets in a bit of space, he can really put some damage on the opposition. Talking about putting damage on the opposition, Van der Merwe for me has been the winger of the tournament so far. He's playing absolutely critically well for Scotland. He relies on Finn Russell, of course, doing a lot of setup work for him. Watch out for that this weekend if Russell and Van der Merwe are able to connect, and we might see a try or two from Duhan Van der Merwe. Scotland are going to need that if they're going to get close in this game. The next thing to watch out for is the halfback battle in this game. I think this is going to be interesting, particularly their kicking strategy. So watch for Gibson, Park and White in their reflective kicking strategies. Sometimes I think White goes for the box kick a little bit too much, whereas Gibson Park is more reliant on getting his back line away or going for a darting run himself, and that's very telling if that's the way the halfbacks play this weekend. So watch out for White's kicking to see whether it's going to be a plus or a minus for Scotland. And then finally, defence. I think it's going to be such a crucial part of the game. We all know about that Irish rush defence. Are they going to be able to get up and stop Scotland from making any breaks? And also, is Scotland going to be able to hold this Irish backline out? That's going to be a critical part of the game. So look for both defences. Starting off from the first whistle, I think it's going to be critical. Whoever gets that first try is going to get a little bit of momentum in this game, and it could make a lot of difference at the end of the day. But when it comes to my final prediction for this game, I think Ireland are going to do it comfortably. 10 to 15 points for me, they're going to get it. They're going to score 30 points in this game against Scotland. That game against England, they were up against a good team on the day, but they only lost it in the last second. I thought they played well despite of that. They weren't at their top level because England were able to nullify that across the 80 minutes, but they still nearly won that game, and that's something that we should not lose sight of. On this side, I don't think Scotland can go the 80 minutes with this Irish team, and when I talk about the Irish team, I'm also talking about the substitutes that are going to come on and make a difference in the second half. So there we go, an Irish win by at least 10 to 15 points for me. Scotland will be lucky to stay in this game, and they're going to have to make sure they don't give it away before half time, because if there is going to be any chance for Scotland, they're going to have to be close to Ireland by half time. Otherwise, Ireland could come out and dominate at home at the Aviva Stadium. So there you go, there's my prediction for the last game of this year's 2024 Six Nations competition. It's been a great competition. Last weekend's games were outstanding. I'm sure we're going to have some outstanding games again this weekend. Make sure you enjoy the game at the Aviva Stadium, and make sure you drop me your comments on what you think is going to happen. Do you think I've got some of my prediction areas correct, or is there something I've missed out that we need to be watching out for in this game? Make sure you drop me a note in the comments on that one. I read them all. Okay, there we go. That's it for my last preview video of the Six Nations this year. I'm going to be back after all the games with a review video, looking at the players, looking at in-depth analysis of how the game unwound, and who got it right and who got it wrong. So make sure you stick around for those as well. Thanks very much for watching my videos. I really appreciate it. It's great to have this global rugby community across the world following us here on Inside Rugby. And if you want to stick around and do that, hit the subscribe button and stick around a little bit longer. I'll see you again after all of the games. Until then, stay safe, stay well, enjoy your rugby this weekend, everyone. And it's time to say adios from beautiful Mexico. Until next time, bye for now.
Helmy Thomas, Edwards to Barry John, Hall, John Dawes, again Williams in the line, he's over the